Good morning, fellow Americans, fellow San Diegoans, and my name is Leslie Williams, and I'm here in San Diego, California. I'm learning disabled, so I don't make very good videos. But the reason why I'm making this particular video is that I want fellow activists and very concerned citizens to pay attention very closely to what I'm telling you, and parents as well. Um, how, you know, I'm 48 years old, and even though I got a learning disability, I'm pretty smart. And we're aware by the time we're 48, I'm not saying that younger people aren't, but I'm just saying people who are my age, we become aware very closely in reference to how things operate, in the community, how universities are funded, where they get their money from, in part our taxes, yeah, and these bonds that are sold. And as a result, then the university turns around and uses the money to pay trustee salaries, president's salaries, teacher salaries, their pensions, and for also construction purposes. So they can then turn around and flip their expansion in reference to what the construction was used for to make more money. And while raising our taxes to fund it and tuition. Now, what would you say if you had, say, 4 kids, or even 2 kids, or maybe even just 1, and you think to yourself, I want what's best for my child, as most civil, normal, healthy parents would think to themselves, and you raise them, of course, and they get to be almost college age, and you start thinking to yourself, this is where I want to send my child, and in hopes that they can go to school, get a solid, quality education, and preferably be able to get a job that's going to provide them security, and so they can move on with their lives, so you don't have to worry about them in reference to being able to provide for themselves and possibly your future grandchildren. This is how it should be in reference to your hopes and aspirations for your children. Now, go to Google and type in organized stalking and or gang stalking and universities. When I type in organized stalking in universities, I get over 8 million responses. Now, I'm here to tell you today, fellow American citizens and fellow San Diegans, I have literally been subjected to non-stop. And when I mean non-stop, say if I go to a university for 6 hours to use the computer, every single time since this open organized stalking expedition has started towards me, every single time that I have went to 4 separate universities, I have been harassed on a non-stop basis, which means throughout the whole time I was there, by organized stalking expeditions and tactics and methods, including by even library reference staff, circulation staff, campus safety, and students, including at times even teachers that have come in to use the library for study purposes, tutoring purposes, and so on and so forth, research purposes. Now, when we look at the amount of Google-generated responses that you will get when you type organized stalking and universities in at Google, you are obviously smart enough to deduce that this amount of Google-generated responses are not being spit out by Google to you for no reason. I'm here today, fellow citizens, to tell you that organized stalking expeditions are directly connected to organized crime, who has multiple motivations. They're into organized crime does not just engage in one type of criminal activity. They're into human trafficking, prostitution rings, sexual servitude rings, land co-opting, trust fund liquidation, property co-opting, mortgage co-opting, and identity theft. And guess what your child does when it might apply for financial aid, even possibly on some financial aid applications put down parents' informations. Yeah. Now, what we have to understand here, fellow citizens, is that what I am telling you are factual realities, and when Google generates out 8 million responses to that term that is described, that is typed in at Google, organized stalking in universities, you can honestly and deductively be able to reason to yourself that these expeditions are existing in real space and time. Now, What they do to targets is literally tear down their lives by using the power positions of the individuals they're connected to in the community. Police officers, firefighters, doctors in neighborhood hospitals, and doctors that are affiliated with county mental health. Social services workers, even social security workers. They're white and blue collar workers that work within the system, flat out. Prosecutors, DAs, yeah, judges. The whole goal, in order to be able, like, say if they went after somebody for mortgage co-opting or land co-opting, they got to be able to, at the end of the day, achieve this objective by using probate attorneys and probate judges and so on and so forth. Then you have to worry about the individuals who are on campus that directly engage in these expeditions, because remember, I mentioned students. They literally get students on board that have an extremely weak moral ethic to participate in these campaigns deliberately. They literally even train them, okay, in what to do towards anybody, okay? And this is done to make them feel harassed, stalked, intimidated. They're into fear-mongering like you would not believe. They also use technology that will literally, well, once I describe it to you and you research it, you'll think to yourself, oh my God, flat out. It's called remote neural monitoring, remote neural influencing, and remote neural stimulating, electronic harassment, and the computer-to-brain link that is mentioned in the remote neural monitoring file is what is known as the computer-to-brain feedback loop. Go to YouTube and Google and type in all of these descriptions and thoroughly scrutinize the particulars and the methods and capabilities of these technologies to see that they are always 95% of the time expedited towards a target they select. Now, with the remote neural monitoring, anybody can be brain entrained, which means that, you know how like when you train a dog to fetch or sit, what you're doing is associating a command in a dog's brain to do a specific thing based on a command. Right. Well, brain entrainment for human beings, so remote neural monitoring can be used to stimulate what's entrained, is the same literal exact concept. And the individuals that they will deliberately put in the lives of your sons or daughters are 100% directed and educated about how to brain entrain any target that is selected. That's why they go after them. And brain entrainment is done to create neural networks through suggestions, ideas, conversations, which basically they do nothing but will lead your child's thinking to think in specific ways and to act in specific ways. And then once your child buys into it, they identify and mark those neural networks that are created using remote neural monitoring, and then they turn around and use remote neural stimulating to stimulate what's entrained. And as a result of this neural activity being marked and identified by them after it is created, they can literally stimulate any neural network back into current consciousness in real time to be acted out in real time for any motivation. So what we have to understand here, fellow citizens, is that I am literally briefing you today on some of the most heinous expeditions that are literally going on university campuses that are literally funded by your tax dollars. Yeah, literally. Okay, to put your child in harm's way. And in a harm's way that is literally directly equal to some of the most heinous crimes in human history. And this is literally no lie. I'm educated. I went to school for electrical engineering. I've studied the brain extensively for over 12 years because I had learning disabilities, so I wanted to be able to figure out strategies to help me minimize the deficits of having a learning disability. So I studied the brain for years. Okay, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I also took psychology for many years in college because they were part of the curriculum in reference to the electrical engineering degree, the architectural degrees I was going for, and I also took computers and networks. I know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, the reason why I am making this video is because when you think about this, okay, not just about what possibly could happen to your son or daughter as a result of going to any university campus with these expeditions going on, but the fact that they literally will raise your taxes to pay for the functioning of these universities and the salaries of the individuals that are directly connected to them. Make no mistake about it. Presidents of universities know about that these things are going on their universities, okay, Information and directives are literally passed down through the chain of command on university campuses to not only allow these expeditions, but to also aid and abet in them. Make no mistake about it. I'm a seasoned target. I've experienced this crime now openly for 10 years on 4 university campuses. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been able to, through experience and research of other targets' blogs and YouTube videos, I have literally, without no doubt in my mind whatsoever, ever, that university faculty, staff, trustees, and presidents are totally aware of these campaigns and are allowing it, and when need be, participate in at least the cover up of it. So I'm here to tell you today, fellow citizens, that when you pay your tax dollars, understand this and be clear. Your daughter or your son can be picked just like that for these types of aspirations. So, when you really think about this at the end of the day, I want to tell you something here. A lot of, at least 80% of their tactics are overt and covert. So plausible deniability can be attached to any accusation or any legal instrument or affidavit or complaint that might be filed against them. That's why they have to create these expeditions and expedite them through. That's why their methods and tactics are done through overt and covert means. Okay, so I'm here to tell you today that, and they do this so plausible deniability can be their denial system. So I'm here to tell you today, they do not like public exposure at all. Look what happened with the Penn State fiasco. Yeah, as a result of what Joe Paterno did and Sandusky, their tuition their enrollment went down at least by 40%. Okay, people were literally leaving that school. Okay, and it's been affected ever since. In fact, I just got done reading in USA Today yesterday. Listen to this: that Penn State is spending $2.5 million on a public relations campaign to get people to come back to Penn State, because all universities care about, and make no mistake about this at all, is enrollment. And enrollment is directly attached to the image of the universities. So if they'll literally not only allow and participate and protect expeditions that are directly connected to human trafficking, sexual servitude rings, trust fund liquidation, property co-opting, land co-opting, identity theft, and everything. Understand this. And we're talking about your son or daughter can go to a university, never be bothered, but her information can be sold to these types of syndicates, and they can go after her 10 years after she leaves the university. The point I'm trying to make here to you today is that since they do these schemes, okay, they can literally end up even in the murder of your child one day. Okay, they do all these things through overt and covert methods. Well, let me just put it to you this way. I wonder what it would be like if this got out. Yeah, and since they're attempting to do this to me still, learning disabled woman, what does that tell you? So here I am today to just make a statement. What if this got out? How many lives would it save? Could it get out through overt and covert means, like possibly people leaving flyers in the community, maybe even on campus, anonymously, like when they're walking down a hallway, they might write something down like learning disabled woman brutally assaulted on an MTS bus, yeah, or learning disabled woman being tortured in San Diego, yeah, because if somebody was to write something like that down and just leave it somewhere, or make 15 or 50 flyers and just anonymously leave them somewhere, what does that do? It gets the word out. So these crimes can possibly be scrutinized by the public so people can see what's going on. Let me tell you something right now. 8 million responses from Google is not done for no reason, okay? This crime is going on a scale like you would not believe. And they go after every area of your life. They create homelessness. They will stage vehicle accidents so you don't have a car to sleep in. They'll liquidate your bank account. They go after your children. They'll go after your parents. They go after your friends. They literally are literally some of the. In fact, I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm not going off the deep end. I'm not engaging in emotionalism here. The things I'm describing to you here are literal factual realities. These people are involved in some of the most heinous crimes that your mind can literally fathom. And they're literally going on the same exact university campuses that you're sending your son and daughter to. The only way that these crimes can be stopped is to threaten what universities love above all, and that's enrollment dollars. My name is Leslie Williams. Think about this, because what I am saying are factual realities. So if you can maybe imagine what it would be like for maybe a son or daughter of yours to be whisked into one of these campaigns, the only thing I can do is tell you to do the research online. This is just food for thought. My name is Leslie Williams, San Diego, California, April 27, 2012.